How you guys doing? Alex here, licensed CP and realtor, and I'm here with...
Dylan Bugallo, licensed real estate salesperson, certified buyer's rep.
And damn, that's a lot to ramble.
Long title.
Hey, but dude, there are going to be people who just do the bare minimum, and they're going to be like, hey, look, I did it. No, you didn't, dude. No, you didn't. All right? And so we had a previous conversation, and, there were people who want to talk smack, right? Like, you look like my grandson's best friend, right? Mm-hmm. And how the hell are you going to sell me anything?
Yeah.
Right? And we're seeing more people come to the office around your age group.
Very young.
Right? And they're they're coming in, yes, but then as reality hits them in their face, they're like, oh crap, how am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to do this?
Yeah. So, you know what it is? What I always tell anyone that comes in here that's anywhere between the age of you only have to be 18 to get a license, but most people don't start at 18. Anywhere between the age of 20 to 28, people consider to be too young to do this. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I mean, when you graduate college, you graduate at 21, 22, and you go out and get a big person job, right? That's something you studied the last 4 years for.
Oh, yeah.
So who's to say that you can't do the same selling houses?
Absolutely.
And what I always tell people is to never let their age discourage them, because in the world we live in, it's an advantage. Mm-hmm. We're so technologically advanced that, looking for houses in a big yellow book and highlighting them and not seeing pictures how you used to do in the 70s and 80s doesn't work anymore.
Absolutely.
You go online, you take virtual tours, you put it on all these websites, you promote it on social media. So being young and growing up with all of these things, and again, these things only happened, social media only became big when I was in high school, so I grew up without it. But I learned how to use it because I was still in my teenage years. So anybody who has that experience has an edge coming into this. And of course there's going to be people that judge you, that think you're too young to do this, that don't think you're mature enough. But experience and personality outweighs age. Age is a number.
Absolutely.
And if you have experience in this type of setting, if you have experience working in an office, if you have any experience at all working in a professional setting, if you had a job when you were in high school, you have experience. Yep. So that's all you need. And even if you have no idea what you're doing here, act like you know what you're doing.
Of course.
Fake it till you make it.
And for me, there's that little bit of, this goes outside of age, right? It's a personality. It's a personality. Because for me, there is the thing where a lot of people say, oh, I can't do this. All right, you want to make excuses, that's fine. And that excuse or whatever justification could be correct. It could be, right? But on the other side of it is, regardless of age, there's a thing of, okay, I don't understand this, but you know what? What's the worst that could happen, right? Let's just do it. Let's bang it out, right? And it's the steps that you take. And, I was speaking with Gloria earlier today, and, you and there were a couple other names I was throwing in that age group mix, and they're clearing multi-million-dollar deals. Yeah. Right? And so, when you brought up your age, even the last conversation, I had flashbacks, because there was an elderly gentleman, he made his millions and whatever, and I goes, look, in your 20s is the perfect time for you to try and fail.
Yeah, it's true. You have nothing to lose.
Of course.
A lot of people that are in their 20s are still living at home with their parents. They don't have the stress of a mortgage, a child. Probably the biggest payment they have is a car payment, and it's not even, I don't want to diminish anybody's finances, but, it's not as much as you would have growing into owning your own house. So your finances, you still have bills to pay, but you kind of have leverage if you're still at home.
Absolutely.
And when I first started this, I was still at home. So, it also helps if you have, a significant other that is willing to financially help you. And, looking at the failure is okay, because if you're not failing, you're not learning,
right?
In my opinion.
Oh, of course.
You have to fail to learn. You have to go through the bad things first, which is losing a deal, losing a listing, messing up on a listing appointment and making a fool of yourself. We've all been there, and you have to do that in order to learn and grow for the next time. Because the fact of the matter is there's hundreds and thousands and millions of homes in New York, just in Long Island and Queens alone. So you're always going to get your chance.
Hell yeah.
So and going back to what you said, I personally know a 22-year-old, someone younger than me, who does the same volume as me here. And he's wonderful. Oh, yeah. And he's great. And he's been doing this a while. I think he started when he was 19.
And that's not common, right? Look.
And he looks younger than me.
I gotta find him. I gotta go.
He looks younger than me. He does, and he sells like multi-million-dollar 2-family homes. And he gets it's not just buyers, he gets the listings too, and he's really incredible.
And that's great, right? And so growing up, my favorite term was moxie. You got to have a little bit of grit. You got to have a little just to keep the bleeps out. Let's get the FU out, right?
Yeah.
So look, you're gonna, especially at that age, look, there's a certain level of, if you get over yourself in terms of that whole high school mentality of, oh my God, they're gonna, what if they see me and judge me? I'm like, who gives a damn?
Who cares?
Yeah. Right? And, when every now and then, as we set up for filming or whatever, we have these new agents that trickle in, and a bunch of them do seem young. And they're like, oh my God, but, what if I fail? I'm like, so what if you fail?
Big deal.
Right? You're looking at, what, a 1 week blip?
Yeah.
And for like a even if it's not real estate, right? No matter what it is you do, what can you possibly do that's going to carry forward for years?
Exactly.
Right?
And what I always tell people too is, if you mess up at a 9-to-5 job where you're on salary, you could get fired,
Mm-hmm.
if you mess up really bad there.
Mm-hmm.
If you mess up here, you're your own boss. The only person that has to be hard on you is you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're going to get fired. It's not like you're never going to be able to do it again. That's why this business just gives you so much leverage in order to be your own boss. Think like an entrepreneur. Think like a CEO, like Gary Keller says.
Mm-hmm.
He has a podcast, Think Like a CEO, which is great. And that's what one of the many luxuries that this business gives you.
Absolutely.
I mean, yes, if you mess up and you lose the deal, you're not making the money.
Mm-hmm.
But now you learn what you did wrong for next time,
right.
And you're never going to make that mistake again.
Or you're going to pay for it.
Exactly. Because I don't like losing money.
Not me. I mean, there's this different feeling in the pit of your stomach when you know you had it. But there's one thing, if there's nothing you can do about it, you're still not going to feel good about losing it. But
at least it's not your fault.
Right.
If you know it's something you did wrong and you lose it, it's just like, oh.
That gut feeling is terrible.
I don't deserve to eat for 5 days.
Right? All right, so we've gone through some of the perks, right? And some of the hoorah, that kind of stuff, right? So now, just to keep it real, right? What are some of the things where you're like, look, you are your own boss. It's just awesome. However, ...
So it's awesome how I can wake up any time in the morning I want.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I don't wake up at a sensible time, like 8:30, get dressed, look nice, and come to the office and work, I'm never going to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you have freedom, you have to, it's like when that term, you give a horse a little bit of room and they'll run.
Mm-hmm.
You can't run off the tracks.
Right.
You have to stay on the tracks. It's wonderful how I get to make my own schedule,
Mm-hmm.
but if I don't put in enough time to do the things that matter, I'm never going to succeed. It's wonderful how I get to dress nice every day, but if I'm dressing nice and making no money, then what's the point?
Right.
So there's always yin to the yang, but I definitely think that if you're able to get all those things under control, and again, and this goes, it works the other way also. It's amazing how I make my own schedule, but you can't overwork yourself. And that was a problem that I had, where I would just come in here at 9 and I would stay till, this was before the pandemic, we were open until 8 at night, and I would stay till 8 at night. And then sometimes I would go do showings at 8:30 for people that wanted it. And then I wouldn't get home till 9:30. And then I would just be so annoyed with how much I was working. I would miss out on the gym. I would miss out on things that I wanted to do. So even though you make your own schedule, you still have to have a personal life.
Right. And that's where I think a lot of people get caught up, right? And again, this goes regardless of age, right? But I think the argument is going to be that it's more commonly for the younger generation of there's no self-regulation because you're used to classes, you're used to the schedule being fed to you, and then you're like, oh, wait, I could do whatever I want.
I don't have to do that? Yeah. I could wake up at 11 and just come in and do work for BS 2 hours? No, that's not how it works.
And that's the difference.
Exactly, and you still have to treat it like you're on a time frame. And what I recommend to everybody, which Deirdre Folan, who I don't know if any of you know her, top agent, recommended this to me, get an old-fashioned planner, and I will stick by this because you fill it out and you don't even realize how many things you do throughout the day. I mean, all of this, you don't realize how much you do. So it's really good to organize it and stick by a schedule. Because even though you don't have to stick by a schedule, it's not mandatory, you're not going to have any repercussions, you're going to have financial repercussions if you're not making your schedule to fit the criteria you need to make money.
Right. And that's kind of that balance, right? Do you want to be a business owner or do you want to play business owner, right?
Exactly.
And there are certain things where, oh, it's great to own your business. It's great to make your schedule. It's great to have no ceiling. Like, right, but you have to earn that, right?
Exactly.
You have to be the person who earns that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where a lot of people get disheartened because they're like, oh, well, I took the class. I got the license. I did these basic couple things that they said you needed to do. Where's my $1 million check? I'm like, did you do it consistently? Did you actually take time and make a routine, a consistent thing that you're dedicated to? If not, then what are you doing? What are you doing here?
It's so true, and that, like you said, a lot of people, they just get like too comfortable. Mm-hmm. And even though it's good to be comfortable, if you're comfortable, you're not growing. You have to be uncomfortable. If you've never gotten up at 8 a.m. to do anything before, get up at 8 a.m. Mm-hmm. Get some work done. You would be so surprised how many things you can get done before 1 o'clock in the afternoon mm-hmm. if you're up at like 7.
Right.
If you get up at, I get up at 6:30 most times, and I'll go to the gym, I'll eat breakfast, I'll come in by like 9, I'll work, and then that 4 hours of work, by 1 o'clock, I'm really done with a lot of the stuff. And that opens my schedule to go on showings, go on appointments. So you have to fit that to your needs. And if you're not a morning person, that's totally understandable mm-hmm. too. But you still have to fit everything in order to make money in your time frame. So it's like when you would get to college and you got to pick your classes and you're like, oh, this is great, I can pick my classes. And what did you do? You set them up around a time where you still got to go out with your friends, still got to work. Mm-hmm. That's what you have to do here too.
Right. And that's key. A lot of people like to leave out the convenient, like, little tidbit that is the crux of it, right? Figure it out. But make it fit. You can do what you want, make it fit. Right? And so, as you did brush on something, and there was a point in time, I'm sure, where you really got punched in the mouth by this industry, and you're like, I don't know, man, right? So what did you overcome?
So, I got my license. I've been in this industry for a long time, mm-hmm. just, doing administrative services, marketing, whatever. Mm-hmm. I got my license towards the end of 2019. Mm-hmm. So I got it, like, literally just a few months before the world shut down. I got my license a couple months before the world shut down, and right after I got my license, I took Bold. It was the same time, and I got 2 listings right away.
Damn.
From my friends. I got a co-op and I got a really nice house. So, and the volume equaled out to like 1.7 million in total, and I was like, this is great. These are my first 2 deals. Like I got them both for 5%. I was like, I'm gonna make some like good money from this. Mm-hmm. Like I don't have to do marketing on the side anymore. I can quit that now. Mm-hmm. And then both of them died. I got accepted offers on both of them. I had so many offers on both.
Right.
And then one of them, the first one died because they couldn't move forward mm-hmm. anymore. They wanted to stay in the co-op. Their plans changed, personal lives. Mm-hmm. And the second one, due to the pandemic, they, unfortunately, both people had underlying health conditions, and I totally understand mm-hmm. why they couldn't sell. It didn't make it hurt any less,
right.
But I totally get it because their health is more important.
Absolutely.
You're going from a private house to a big building where there's a lot of people. You don't want to take that risk.
Absolutely.
So I totally got it, but in my mind, I was like, this really is like,
it hurts.
if you could kick me, punch me, shoot me, stab me, and throw me in a meat grinder, that's mm-hmm. exactly what just happened. Because I went from having like, I think it was like 82 grand in GCI to $0 in GCI. And then the world shut down on top of it. And I couldn't make calls to FSBOs because I would call them every day. I couldn't make calls to expireds. So all that happened and the world shut down. And I'm just sitting there like, that Summer Walker meme where she's like this?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like that. And I was like, okay. So I want to quit. I hate it.
You're going to have that moment, man.
We're all going to have that moment. I know people who've been doing this 30 years that just want to walk out and not do this anymore sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it gets really mentally challenging. And that's another thing with this business is mental health is really, really important. And if a client is, my rule now that I'm, have the volume to be able to pick and choose clients, and I'm not picky, I'll really work with anybody. Mm-hmm. But if they're draining you from a mental standpoint, you have to let them go because mm-hmm. it's not okay.
Right. And, this is why I love numbers, right? So it's common, right? You hear it day in, day out, especially new agents. I'm guilty of it too. When you don't have anything sitting on your desk, you start getting tempted. It's the equivalent of knowing, like, there's such and such, all your friends know of. They're that partner is going to be the worst for you, yet you have nothing going on. You say, hey, you know what? Let's go out for drinks with that person. It's a terrible idea. And unfortunately, there's always going to be someone who's willing to take that step, which I get it. Whether it's hunger or just desperation, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Right. But standards are important. right?
Yeah, you have to have them in this business. And it's so important because a lot of people think, oh, they work for commission. I can talk to them however I want. They're still going to, be okay because they have to do this to get the money. And the fact of the matter is we do have to make the deal go forward to get the money. However, my pride and my self-respect mean more to me than any amount of money.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe not any amount of money.
Well,
not any amount of money. I'll take that back. But
it's a very steep price, I imagine.
Exactly. It takes a lot, So, and it's just so important from the beginning to set the boundaries.
Right.
It's like when you start dating somebody new and they do something you don't like go through your phone. You set the boundary right then and there. I don't like that.
Right.
If this is going to work, you have to trust me. So it's the same thing with your clients. You have to set a boundary. If they speak to you a way you don't like, say, listen, Alex, I do enjoy working with you, and I would love nothing more than to help you go forward with purchasing your home, selling your home, whatever we're doing. But I'm just going to say right here and now, the way you spoke to me is not okay for me. Although I'm an independent contractor, I do have morals and I do have self-respect, and going forward I would appreciate if you did not speak to me that way because I'm here to help you and you have to know that.
Right. And for me there's the other side of this, right? When I first jumped into this, you think client relationship, and it's very common for people to come with the perspective of almost like an employee. Right? And what I come to realize is I'm not your employee. I'm not your, this is a partnership.
You can fire them.
Right.
They can't just fire you. You can fire them.
Exactly. Right. And so, when I was speaking to someone else, they had this thing of like, look, if this was employer-employee, right, then you should be getting paid regardless.
Exactly.
Right. I get it. You want to say it's a commission thing, whatever. But here's the other side of it. If you don't close, you don't get paid.
Yep.
They don't get whatever they're, up to sell or to buy, whatever, but you don't get paid either.
Yep.
Right? And so this is more of a partnership than an employer-employee. If they look at you as an employee, there's a problem.
No. We're a team. So I work, in reality, yes, I do work for them. However, I'm not their employee.
I feel like you work for their interests.
Exactly. And what I always say to them is, it's not really that I work for them, I work with them. I'm a service.
Right.
I am a service. I'm a luxury brand. And they're lucky that they have somebody like me to work with. Right. Because there's a lot of realtors out there who will do the bare minimum and take pictures with their iPhone or their Samsung and not answer their phone at 10 o'clock at night and not really care to go show them something after 6 o'clock if they can't get off of work. So you're getting the Ritz-Carlton with me. And if you're going to treat me like I'm a Motel 8, I don't want it. You're getting the Ritz-Carlton. You're getting Gucci. I'm not Walmart. I'm not a Motel 8. So
and no shot against them. Don't sue us,
bro.
Don't sue us, bro.
I'm just saying, just making a comparison. There's a market. So with me, you get all of the incredible amenities and luxuries that come with me. So although I do have to wait until the end to get paid, you also have to wait until the end to sell your home or purchase your new home. So one hand washes the other, and we're a team more than we are a boss employee.
Right. And it's a lot of people find that distinction hard to swallow, right?
They do.
They're like, well, at the end of the day, it's coming out of the money out of this transaction that you're. I'm like, look, and it's easier for other people who have done more on the investment side, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, when I look at an investment standpoint, it's money, time, knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. Generally, people don't have all three.
No.
Right. So if I'm doing a partnership, it's because I have one or two of the three, and I need someone else to have the other. So if you have the money and I have the time and knowledge, well, guess what? It's similar, right?
Exactly. And that's how you're so correct about that. That's how you have to look at it. Because, realistically, we don't make money unless we work with people that have money. That's just the truth. But it makes us no different than, it's the same if you go to a car dealer. If I go to a car dealer, when I leased my Jeep, that guy who leased it to me, he's not working for me.
Right.
He's providing a service to me. So I talk to him with respect, and I speak to him how I would want somebody to speak to me. Absolutely. And it's the same thing when somebody comes to me. Absolutely. And they could go to any realtor, but if they get somebody that's going to work for them, that has the time to work with them, that has the knowledge, that has negotiation skills, that represents them well, they're going to be enticed to spend their money on that.
Right. And that's where we have some issues, right? Because unfortunately, there are a lot of bad actors in this industry, right?
Oh, yeah.
Either, I mean, sometimes it's not through any other like major fault, like anything malicious. It just maybe it was lack of experience, right? It could happen, right? Or there are just some people who are just, right? They are who they are, right?
Yeah.
And that's not something I want to delve into because those stories are dime a dozen.
No, we don't want to attack anybody.
Right. So then, how do you overcome? Right. So now you're young,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're young. You're new, right? In terms of the sales side of things, right? And then I'm sure these people have heard all these horror stories about all these people who just don't have it together. How do you combat that on a daily basis?
A client that is not altogether...
They're wary. Because they dealt with other agents.
See, this was like probably the biggest obstacle for me because going to school like in Queens, like I don't you went to school in Queens. It's just different. Like if somebody annoyed you in high school, you just like fought and that was it. You know, like so I just have everybody from Queens has this attitude, like and not just Queens, New York for that matter. Everyone from New York has this attitude where it's like, all right, we can snap like this. So that was the most difficult thing for me to overcome because sometimes you'll get clients and even other agents that really test your nerves. Like, really. And what I learned is the best thing to do is to just be authentically kind. Although you can set your boundaries, like I said, tell them how to speak to you, tell them that they have to treat you how they'd like to be treated. And even if they don't honor that, if they still are getting at you, if somebody's still being rude to you, you just have to brush it off your shoulder because you don't want to be known as the person in this business that punched the listing agent in the face for talking to you rude or cursed them out at the closing table or you don't want to be known like that because there are people that are known like that. I know many agents who have cursed somebody out, who have yelled at somebody, and you get known for that. You get everybody. It's a small world. Everyone knows everyone. New York's an island where we can't go anywhere, right? So we all know each other somehow. So you don't want to have that reputation as the person, right? And even though what the person did to you may be wrong, how you react to it has to be right.
Of course.
And I'm not going to lie, I've definitely been in that situation where I probably have reacted to someone's reaction wrongly, but it's something that you learn from. And that was my biggest thing because I have a very short fuse and a very short temper in my personal life, and I've learned to separate that from my business life. It takes a lot to push me to that point.
Right, but look, that's that process, right? There's a dedication there, right? And so, I mean, I feel like there's gonna be that thing, especially with guys, not to be whatever, but we grew up where, especially the dudes that I grew up around, they're hotheads.
It's a pride thing,
right? And then it's like, what the hell did you, right?
Right.
I get it. But here's the thing: at a certain level, there's some. I tie it into being a professional, right? But
it's
also
professionalism.
But beyond just being this professional person, it's for me. I maybe it's just because I'm getting older and just the energy's not there.
Maturing, yeah.
It's just I have a limited set of bits of energy, right? And so if I'm going to dedicate this time mouthing off to you, right? I have other things that for me, if I have 100 sticks and each thing is a thing of energy, look, I'd rather spend that money or that time, that energy, whatever it is, making more money.
It's so true. Yeah.
It's not worth it.
No. And then, you know what? Just doing that, having a bad reaction to somebody, it's just going to make you upset after the fact. And you're going to think of things that you could have said also to, into the argument. And you're just going to put too much time into it. So it's better to, like you said, there's a difference between standing up for yourself while being professional and then standing up for yourself and being unprofessional. So you have to do it professionally, and you can walk away knowing that A, you're a good person, B, you reacted to it the way that anybody who is a professional would do it, and you're not wasting time harboring that anger anymore. You're opening up your time. Okay, this client didn't work out, or this listing agent didn't, or this other agent, whatever. Now, noted, not going to work with them ever again. Now I'm going to focus my time on a client who is receptive to my time. And that's really important.
And the reason for that is because you will give it your all.
Exactly.
Right? It's a meeting of the minds, and it's a balance. Right? Oh, man, that's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I know, it is.
So for everyone out there who wants to, kind of reach out, how can they come find you?
I'm always here. I swear to God, I'm here more than I'm home. If I could put a bed in here, I probably would. Actually, I don't think a nice bed would fit.
You can't pull a George Costanza here.
No, I'm a little bougie, but you can always. I'm here literally every single day. You can call me, email me, text me, Actually, text me before you call me because I won't answer the phone unless you're a client. But text me before you call me. Email me, whatever you want. I'm always here. I'm always willing to help anybody. Even if you are from Douglas Elliman and you're thinking of moving over, I will help you. I don't care. So I'm always available.
With that said, thank you all for your time. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you.
If you guys have any questions, go hit this boy up. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on the next one.